thankful to be in a nation where that's encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's part of our national DNA. Is that broken? Let's go fix it.
Right.
And something we could learn from that is to keep your eye on the horizon, on that goal that you set. At a certain point, leave the spreadsheet, go and act.
Just do. As America approaches its 250th anniversary, there will be plenty of conversations about history, patriotism, the people who built this country. And here at Distillery Labs, we also think about what it means to build something from nothing. The American Revolution really was in many ways an audacious startup story, a small group of people taking on the most powerful empire in the world, trying to persuade others to believe in an idea that they had not ever been proven before, and building the systems needed to make that idea real. Of course, it was imperfect, as is a lot of things in entrepreneurship. And today we're going to be talking about conviction, disruption, rebellion, risk, and the sometimes irrational confidence required to begin. And today, here with me, I have a couple of humans here. Matt Dulesky, who is one of the co-founders of Patriot Energy Solutions, VP of Ops at Patriot Solutions International. Welcome, Matt. Matt is the older one of the two here.
Much appreciated, Doug. Happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. And who's this little guy with you?
We have Brooks along for the ride as well, the newest of the Dulesky unit.
Welcome, Brooks.
Yeah.
Awesome. So some of the conversations today are going to, we're just kind of to tie that thread through of the entrepreneurial mindset, the audaciousness that our founding fathers had to create our country and fight for freedom whenever it was not guaranteed by any means, and how founders today can, in a much different way, relate to that. And so, Matt, thank you for being here today. So you've been involved with a few different startups. You, through Patriot, you guys are actively working on some things yet that aren't, the vision isn't shared across society yet as far as new solutions, whether it be towards energy or manufacturing, et cetera. Tell me, in your brain, how do you look back at our founding fathers and those that stood up and said, we don't accept the way things are and we want to do it, do things differently compared to entrepreneurs today?
Love the comparison, first of all. And through that lens of the American Revolution, I think that it's more resilience than, so let me back up real quick. We often joke about the question of, is it resilience or ignorance, or how startup founders and entrepreneurs keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really that committed to the goal, or are they just not entirely aware of how hard that is going to be and continue to be? And I think you can apply a similar lens, but maybe heavily weighted to the resilience side on the American Revolution. I mean, would love to see that pitch deck for one.
I would love that as well. Maybe we should do that.
But just a great analogy. All unified towards the one goal of that more perfect union, and understanding it's going to be difficult and not fully fleshed out at the start, but there has to be a better way. And it's just an incredible story, one,
Mm-hmm.
But also case study in resilience and the seemingly impossible applied unified vision and the willingness to continue
Mm-hmm.
equals you can do anything. I think is a really neat analogy from entrepreneurship to the US of A.
Yeah, agreed. I think that there's a lot of pride that we can have in many ways, but also understanding that there were so many mistakes as well, and in hindsight, it's always a lot clearer of, well, in the beginning, we should have done this and we didn't. And that's entrepreneurship too. But I think one of the things that I find very interesting is, so there's those types of people that look at a broken system or process or product, whatever it is, and think, that's horrible. That's it. They complain, nothing else about it. And then there's those people that kind of stand up and decide to do something. And I'm sure there's psychologists out there and lots of studies that kind of look at that mindset difference of what are the characteristics of an individual that looks at a broken system or product or service and says, you know, that's the worst thing ever, and then they do nothing about it, compared to those that look at it and immediately think, what can I do to fix it?
Yeah, I think find some similarities in the clinically insane and those that decide to be to be entrepreneurs. All jokes aside, I think you can assume a, a certain amount of commitment or somewhat of a calling out akin to that for servicemen and women that join the armed forces, that they feel called to serve, and that is deep inside. And you can look at the studies that show that there's something different about that
Mhm.
type of human, and uh, not quite apples to apples to the calling, but similar in the fact that that's something innate to it's a group of people, typically entrepreneurs, that are seeing something that could be improved,
Mhm.
or not just wishing for a better way, but saying, I see this problem. Let's build a way out of it. I think those are very similar. I'm thankful to be in a nation where that's encouraged,
Mhm.
and that's something that's part of our national DNA. Is that broken? Let's go fix it.
Right.
Rather than what, depending on which media outlet you're listening to, there's lots of talk about this is a problem. Let's spend all day talking about a problem,
Mhm.
and then maybe behind the scenes there's a group of some real patriotic individuals and um, that are working towards a better way forward.
Right.
And we can learn a tremendous amount by studying what our forefathers did. And I think the Reader's Digest version of that is probably where Nike got its slogan. Of,
Just-
let's do something about it.
yes.
It's all good to talk, but let's go forth and do. I think those, that psychology is unique.
Bias towards action.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
And just like thinking back in 1770s, and things start heating up of just what a audacious, like what, like you said, like you're either unhinged, maybe a little bit insane, but to have a level of confidence to say, and particularly those that were quote unquote like public about it, like I'm going to sign my name to this document that's going to go against the most powerful empire on the planet, and knowing full well that my business, my family, my life as I know it will forever be changed. And I'm still going to do that. And I doubt if there was a statistical analysis of the likelihood of success
Yeah.
versus failure. Oh, we have a 13% chance of succeeding in this. And yet,
Maybe that's part of it. And this is totally tangential and a bit slapstick, but not having that kind of death by data
Mhm,
was probably a good thing.
mhm,
Back in 1776 and beyond, to not be drowned by all the statistical analysis of what if this is
right.
what we are going to do. But yeah, I think was probably a good thing to not be so in the weeds, I guess, with that. And something we could learn from that is to keep your eye on the horizon, on that goal that you set.
Mhm,
Talking about bringing a product to market, some of which really really impactful to society and the communities that we inhabit. Um, it's not nation building. Right, to be able to say, it's great to have insight where you can, and obviously imperative to be strategic in where you're spending resources and the risk that you're taking on.
mhm.
At a certain point, leave the spreadsheet, go and act.
Just
And,
do.
and I love that example.
Yeah, same here. So thinking through, there's no such thing as an overnight success, right? Like we didn't get our approach to the military. The war itself, how we were executing on the battlefield was sloppy, a little bit disorganized. I think is probably an understatement. And yet there is that resilience and that perseverance. And I think in there, and the point I want to touch on right now is kind of that learner's mindset of not just, okay, we're going to continue to line people up in a line. We're going to march them towards these muskets that are firing back at them. And then hopefully the numbers, we have more, we know we're going to sacrifice
Yeah.
hundreds and then thousands of lives because we're going to just keep pushing through to switch tactics. I think that's another lesson learned, that, being a country that fought and won through evolving its military tactics throughout to be more guerrilla warfare and, be more strategic. I feel that also has bled into our, entrepreneurial world here.
I think folks will talk a lot about pivoting and the need to be flexible, and that's important. Great, awesome example of kind of tactics. The being able to continue with that singular mission in mind and what your goals are while pivoting, right? To take that strategic look of we need to switch something up and keep that and focused on what we're hoping to achieve at the end of it. It's a little more straightforward when we're talking open conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Goal is to win.
Yes.
Continue to win. And entrepreneurship, you got to be committed to that goal. What is it that you're trying to bring to bear? And the market, a community, other factors will guide that need to pivot and kind of show what direction ought to be taken. What's the path of least resistance for this? And the one add I would make to that is make sure you're still accomplishing what you're setting out to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And that may look tremendously different to what maybe the product you're bringing to market or the service may change a lot, but what's the goal of that service?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to make the world a better place? Are you trying to make a bunch of money? Are you trying to improve some process? Whatever that is, making sure that while pivoting, which is necessary,
Mm-hmm.
you're still moving towards that goal. The X's and O's of how you get there are going to change. You need to be willing to do that and be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think our country's still doing that, right? Like 250 years later, we're still learning and pivoting and growing, and I know hopefully that's something we continue to do for generations and centuries into the future. Before we close it out, two just kind of fun questions to ask, and Brooks, feel free to answer if you'd like. If you could take a technology back with you, what technology would you take back with you to show them, like whether it's impactful or just funny, like, hey, here's a fill in the blank
fidget spinner.
So
Look how far we've come. Oh goodness. I think one on a more serious note would be some modularized technology to a group like the revolutionaries that were seeing the behemoth that is the American Great Britain, to see that what they have built can now be done in the scale of an office building, or in the scale of an office singular. You can generate power. You can manufacture anything that you can dream up to a certain extent. Seeing that modularity and that the ability to distribute production, be that energy, manufacturing, brands, the ability to do that on a smaller scale, I think would just resonate so well with the American Revolution to say, here's that behemoth. Look what else we can do. We can recreate that wherever we want.
That's right.
Yeah, that ability to produce and the ability to really bring a commercialized ability to generate power, products, etc. It can all be done, and that ability was born of the union that you guys had the bravery and I'm just going to stop at bravery. The bravery,
yeah,
not ignorance, bravery, to see through to the end, and now that access is pretty well ubiquitous, and I imagine that would resonate.
Yes,
after the fidget spinner.
After that, first this, then that. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Matt, so much for coming on and talking through this with us. And you too, Brooks. Thank you, buddy. Hopefully we're going to be good stewards of this country for you when you get older and you're sitting in a podcast holding your little one there talking about space travel. I don't know what you're going to be talking about. But and also sincere thanks to all men and women that have served our country, going back to our founding fathers. And I agree with you. Like, if I could go back in time, I would thank you. Like, that's pretty amazing. We appreciate that. So happy anniversary to America, 250 years.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. And with that, we're going to close it out. Thank you.